like TLDR, right? The thing, as I said, like just show apparently it's showing like a hot girl with like a tight fucking outfit just gives you the views. Like I thought that was like I knew it wasn't the myth, but it kind of feels okay. It was true then all along. That's
it can't be that easy, right? It's
no,
how you'd think.
yeah, like that's almost how I feel. But like it's not like the thing is that it wasn't that I didn't use that thumbnail just because of that reason. I mean, the reason was because it fitted like with the fucking thing with because when I was constructing it, I was talking to ChatGPT, right? I said, okay, these are the things we talked about. What kind of thumbnail are you suggesting? And then it said, oh yeah, just have. I'm just gonna call the main character in Fallout. Her name is Nora. If you play as a girl, so anyway, so just have Nora, like just stand with her back towards the camera, and then you might have some modernist icons in it, or her facing up against a demon. I was like, okay, cool. So I just did the fucking whole shebang, like stable diffusion, just like back turned, yada yada yada, and it's like, yeah, she's a tight vault suit. Of course, it's gonna show like, yeah, like of course it's gonna show that,
Yes.
and
So that's your excuse, right? The reason why there's a lady with a big butt in the thumbnail. It's all an accident.
yeah, and it's also capitalism because I love it. But that's a story for another time.
Maybe the AI can read your mind and knows what you really want to see. So
Oh,
that's why it
oh
made
man,
it.
dude, did you see the fucking what is it like that AI that can read minds now? And just what is it?
Ah, really?
Yeah, they put. I mean, I don't know how advanced it is. It might just be putting up like read because I can, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, obviously they don't have anything at least released to the public yet that can actually read your mind, like really sophisticated. But it can pick up
Is it like
brainwaves.
by brain imaging, or is it something else? Like, does it like film a person and tell them what they're thinking, or how does it work?
No, what I saw was that there was either two things because I didn't look it up before this, and I should, but it was either two things. Either it scanned your brainwaves something and gave sort of outputs, or you just sort of talked to it and what mood you were in, and then it just started drawing things with stable diffusion.
Oh, huh.
And like
And how would it know? Like, what's the correlation between what a person is saying and what they're thinking? Because it can't be that high.
I mean,
Or put it another way, the person can just lie about what they're saying or about what they're thinking, and then it's useless, right? So it's not really something that can see what a person is thinking as much as it's something that can try to help someone picture in the outside world what's inside their mind.
I sort of see where you're going. The thing is that
I mean it's probably like a clickbait article, and reading minds was not what the thing was made for.
no, I don't like. I think it was like part clickbaity, but it was something with brainwaves. So it's more like, if I'm gonna guess right, if I concede that okay, it was reading your brainwaves. So let's say you're very very calm, then might start drawing like images of like a mountain or something, like a very calm image. And then if you're stressed, it might what is like that. It might do something like this, and then as you said, they just what is it called? Clickbaited the title and said, "Oh, it's actually reading minds." But it's not really. It's just reading your mood and drawing things accordingly.
Yes, and there's also the fact that it's not going to be the same for each person. Like a mountain might be like an object of fear for some people, and like I'm not sure about you, but when I'm calm, I'm not thinking about mountains. I'm definitely not thinking about mountains. So it's it has to be clickbait. There's not much else to it.
When I'm calm, I'm thinking about the glorious communist revolution that will take place, and we will all get.
Let's see.
Yes, we will all be living together with Lenin and Stalin forever in heaven. That's the glorious thing that calms me down every day when I think about it.
I see.
Like,
Yes.
I'm being super fucking sarcastic, right? But imagine people actually, they think. It's always been so strange to me, like this. People
I don't think that people who like are pro Lenin and Stalin believe in heaven.
I mean, some of them do, but not the majority. I can't. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe they say, "Oh no, actually, the majority of communists do believe in an afterlife." But
There's zero chance. Like, if there is an afterlife, there's no way.
I mean, here's an interesting thought. I mean,
I feel like an utopia and heaven are mutually exclusive. You can't believe both at the same time.
Okay, now I see what you mean. No, my question was gonna be though is that, I mean, if it's just thought, because I misunderstood you. I thought you said if you're a communist, you don't get to go to heaven, and then I was in my mind. I'm like,
that's true, but
I mean, based if true, but I think it's more because I mean, if it's just some kid fucking thinking these thoughts and being edgy online, I don't see, like, if they didn't do anything with it, like, who cares? Like, if they, I don't think, like, whatever happens after takes that into account, like, your thoughts. Otherwise, and no one goes to heaven. Like, it's just closed forever.
Yes, and that's the plot of an anime, by the way.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yes, and it was cancelled in 10 chapters of the manga. I said an anime, but it's actually a manga.
Oh,
I mean, Japan talking about heaven. It's like, what do they know about heaven?
I mean, isn't it just reincarnation for them? That's what I know. It's always reincarnation.
Yeah, for Buddhists, which is like fairly numerous in Asia until communism destroyed it. Speaking of which, we come back to it.
Yes. No, but the thing is like that. I do know. What was it about the like? I almost no. Yes. I do know that most marriages in Japan, they are like Christian traditionalist like ceremony, even though like most of them are not Christian.
Yes, that's correct. Because they didn't have the same the how do I put it? The ceremony that they had wasn't like that. It was way less extravagant, I suppose, and they really admired the more extravagant one, and so they started imitating it. But for example, they still cremate bodies more often than not. So, which is not a Christian thing, and it's condemned by Christians, essentially.
I mean, not by the based Protestants. I mean, I don't want to.
The Protestants are not the rule. They're literally the opposite of the rule.
I mean,
they just
true.
Make up shit as they go along.
I mean, true. It's a Jewish faith is the one that's closest, and before them it was Babylonians, and before them it was those people who built Göbekli Tepe. So I think it's Göbekli Tepe got it right. That's just what it is.
I'm not sure what the fuck is Göbekli Tepe, to be honest.
It's that, okay. So I've been looking into not the fucking what is the ancient aliens, none of that shit. But essentially Göbekli Tepe is this ruin in Turkey that's over 10,000 years old. And it's so sophisticated that it can't have been built by cavemen, even though everyone believes we were cavemen at the time, in the Stone Age. It's too sophisticated to have been built by Stone Age people, let's say that.
Is this the pyramids were built by aliens thing?
No, this is proven. This, they can have carbon dated it, and they found the ruin, and it's proven that this exists, this was built before 10,000 years ago. This is
Yeah,
like
no, but what I mean is, just because we don't know how it was built doesn't mean that it was built by aliens or
no,
not
exactly.
humans.
No, they like, I mean, as far as aliens go, like they haven't seen any evidence of like, you know, there. What is it? Yes, there is no reason to believe aliens built it. Let's say that.
All right, that's less. That doesn't make me want to contradict you. So go ahead.
I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, even if you ask fucking Richard Dawkins, he will say yes, there is a possibility aliens built the pyramids. It's just very
Richard
unlikely.
Dawkins is delusional. Go ahead.
Oh my god, are you triggered? Do you get triggered by Richard Dawkins? I am the one that should be
No, but
triggered because I'm the Christian.
no, but I do not think. But I don't think that he should be used as the standard for what scientists or people who are reasonable should believe, because he's stuck like on fucking Illuminist mindset 500 years after it was over. So
What is it? What is he stuck on? The illumination.
Illuminism.
Yeah,
Yes.
illumination. That's what it is. Yes, but isn't it called
Yeah.
illumination period? But you said illuminism.
Yeah, I mean, in Portuguese it's Iluminismo, but I don't know how it's translated into English, so it's just
No, wait. It's not,
transliterated.
dude. It's not called Portuguese. It's called Brazilian, right?
I mean, depends who you ask.
It's like the thing is, I've seen.
There's a few people in the coast of Europe which will get mad if you say that, but there are not that many people. So
I mean, there's more Brazilians than there are Portuguese people, so that's why it's so funny to me that we still keep.
Yes.
Everyone keeps calling it. I mean, for the other ones, it kind of. For the other South American countries, it makes sense that they still call it Spanish because they are so. They're not just one monolith, you know.
yes,
But whereas Brazil is like a fucking fuck off huge monolith in the middle of South America, so it may average much more people.
Yeah, but people get the wrong impression when they look at a map and they see like this huge country, which is Brazil, which like it is huge, but it's not really a fucking country, you know. By which I mean, we don't have essentially like cultural integrity. So the places are way too separate in terms of culture and how they put it. You don't see like many intellectual achievements as a whole from the country. So people tend to overestimate Brazil when looking from the outside. But I feel like Brazil should have been like conquered by some external power and like broken up and then fought back and then rose up as like individual states which are stronger, because we don't really have a history of wars or anything like that, which makes the country itself quite fucking dull, you know, docile. It doesn't know any better.
Of that, I actually like. I am hearing what you're saying. That I mean, if you have a conflict with other countries, it helps you build a national identity. Yes, I understand
Yes.
that point. The thing you're gonna love this story because I always just think about it when we're talking about this huge fuck off country, and then I was thinking about the Amazon, right? Because okay, so there's this guy I told you about that I met in Athens, right? And we were talking, right? And he said that he had gone to Brazil for vacation, like, you know, or something like this. I don't remember if he lived there for an extended period of time or he just went for like vacation. But on the hostel he went to, he and another guy from Israel, they had like been buddies, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, let's go out in like just a short tour of the rainforest, like just a little, you know, a very small part of it, of course." And or it was either rainforest or somewhere else. But here's the point: that when you go into, I don't know if it's the part of Brazil that if you fly into that certain part this happens, or if it's when you go into Brazil. But you have these really dangerous tarantula, right? The spider that's really dangerous.
Oh yes, tarantulas.
Yeah, and it's like one of them that's like super fucking dangerous.
Mm.
Like if you get
I
bitten, you
mean,
need to go to the hospital immediately.
even if you tell me about it, I won't know what species it is because that would be like way up in the north of Brazil.
Hmm.
But please go ahead. I'm just gonna picture a very big, like, fucking Lord of the Rings spider in my head.
Yeah, and the thing is that this guy that he was with, like my friend, this Israeli guy, he would like pick up, like when he saw something, he would pick it up to investigate it. Anything. You see where this is going. And then when my friend from Sweden looks over, he's holding this fucking tarantula in his hand and just looking at it. And it's like, it's almost in his face or something. Like, because when he showed me how it looked, he is, I don't know if it was over exaggerating, but the way he was telling the story, it looked like the Israeli guys picked up this fuck off spider from the ground and held it in his face, looked at it, and put it down.
Yeah, I mean, some people do that.
And it's like,
I'm not sure. I know that like you can actually raise tarantulas to be pets, so I guess that was probably not as dangerous as he pictured it. But I personally, I mean, I still like when I'm half awake, sometimes see spiders out of the corner of my eyes, then jump with surprise, because it's just a permanent image in my subconscious. And so I wouldn't. I would stay very far away from someone who was picking up a tarantula.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I can see like, to be fair, I mean, no, it would be too mean, but I can see like that someone just picks up a tarantula as a prank and throws it at their friend. I mean,
Yes, very mean though.
yeah, but I mean, can you? And then the friend dies or something. I don't know. Like, it's a very underdeveloped joke or something. But I can just like, I just see this like Brazilian YouTuber like, oh, we pranked my buddy. He's dead now, but rip. We pranked my buddy to death. We just threw this like terrifying tarantula at his face or something. But I do know that like everything in the Amazon is essentially been developed to kill you. That's what I do know.
I mean, I'm not sure about that. What I do know is that there's so many things in there that it developed its own ecosystem, and one of the things that it does is it creates very poisonous creatures and then makes them very colorful to warn off anything. So if you see something colorful in the Amazon, you should stay away from it, because I mean there's like a frog there, or a toad, I don't know, which like one fucking drop of its poison can kill like 1,000 people or something. Like it's like fucking, it's OP,
It's OP. They fucked up his stats in the start.
It's imbalanced. They'd have to patch it out eventually.
Yeah. No, but yeah, isn't that what I mean? What we hear over, in Europe and stuff, is that the native population, like the tribal people, whatever you want to call them, that live in the Amazon, use the venom of those frogs in warfare against other tribes and as weapons.
I know that some tribes in Amazon use venom from animals. I'm not sure if it's about those frogs, but yes, I know that they do, and they use it on like I think it's like blowpipes. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, blowpipes.
Like, yeah,
safe, right?
I think it's safe. I'm not sure, and I've never used it.
No, okay, is the like, I mean, the thing, like, because I also heard this about blowpipes, but all I can think of is like, that sounds super unsafe if you're doing it like with venom. Because what if you like, you put the dart in the wrong side and it's like, oh well, that's it, I guess. That's it. Like, I'm just dead.
Me, I feel like for a lot of history, those people in construction sites which had lunch at the top of like, the Empire State Building.
Yes.
Like hanging off from a,
Yes.
It's like the same thing. Like at some point, people were not so pussy about losing their life, I guess. And I'm not sure what that says. If it's like them who's very, or if they are very weird, or if we are very weird. But I feel like to a certain extent you can sort of, I mean, if you have the self-confidence to do it, you probably have a good reason to be self-confident, right? Because if you can trust yourself and your instincts, that you can, deal with something which is fatal and live, even if it's not like something so mundane as having lunch. It's probably normal for those people, especially in the Amazon, to know that if you're going to be trying to kill someone, you might have to risk getting poisoned in return, and it's only fair.
No, I see a point that, I mean, if you are willing to take, I mean, it's the whole thing, like, what reality do you live in, sort of, which is a very postmodernist idea. So, kudos.
You are very postmodern, by the way.
No, I'm not.
Because you always are thinking about what they would think,
What do you mean?
I mean that you're very aware of how postmoderns think, and
Yes.
It comes to you as second nature to try to bring them and their point of view into the conversation.
Yes, because I need to know how the enemy thinks in order to beat them harder.
That sounds like, oh man, I almost had a good joke there, but forget it. I can't say it.
No, but the thing about them, right, is that
it was about like a Republican going to the Pride Parade to see how the enemy thinks.
I mean, to be fair, like, you need to understand the other side of the argument in order to give a good counter. So that's
no, sure, yes.
Yeah, so that's also why I know, and I think about, okay, how would they think here? Okay, because as I said, like, I know we talked about this many times before, but like the thing is that I have no problem at all using postmodernism in literature in terms of not writing it, not because I don't consume postmodernist media at all, or like I avoid it if I feel it's postmodernist. But as a literature criticism, it's fine as a starting point. Like when you, how to say, like first class of English literature or literature class, yes, it's fine because you need to start somewhere. You need to understand sort of some basics, and so for an entry level, it's really good. It's just when you go further than that, it doesn't work anymore. Because I remember one time when I was studying in London. You must have seen the movie 300, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so this is. Oh my god, that.
I don't remember much.
What did you say?
Although I don't remember much of it because I only watched it once. It's quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like 2 times I watched it. It's alright. But anyway, the thing is that for the film studies lesson, we were supposed to watch this film and then discuss it in class. So when we watch the film, we go to class, and then this woman starts talking about it, and then she says, "Okay, look how the men are portrayed in this movie, and they look so perfect, they are so ripped, and then you look at the enemy, and they look kind of evil, they look not as ripped and stuff, and here's the thing, I was so naive. I did not know who I was dealing with. I did not know who I was dealing with at this point. I did not know that. I was so naive. So I, in my naivete, raised my.
Evil. They're not as ripped.
Yeah.
Like what? What's the correlation here? You're saying that someone being weak is someone being evil?
No, but anyway, I held up my arm, and then I asked, isn't it possible that, because the Spartans were the best warriors, like, of all time. Like, okay, not the best, but some of the best warriors. Like, who were the best? It's hard to figure out, but for that region at the time, yes, the Spartans were like some of the best warriors, like, of all time. So I said, isn't
Yes,
that why?
in Legends, they're probably like the best of all time.
Yeah, the only thing, if I understand it, Athenians had on them was that they weren't as batshit insane. That's the only reason they were slightly better. And then the Romans
Yes,
helped them out anyway.
In Legend, right? So
Yeah, I mean,
in Legend, you
yeah,
know, you know what they did, right? I mean, the movie itself shows it. Like, they send their children to fucking fight lions and stuff.
yeah, they were insane.
So, yeah. Yes, but they are also legendary because of it.
Yes, of course. I agree. But the thing is that I held up my arm and I say this to her. Like, like, isn't it just possible because of that? And then she says to me, who says this? That's what she says to me. Who says this? Who says that these were the best warriors of all time or something like this? And I just look at her, confused, and then I say, historians? And she says, what historians? And I say, all of them. And then it's like, oh my god, like, me and her, we had, then the class after that, we had another debate. Which was so, and then I just gave up. I just crossed my arms, looked down, and just said, fine, whatever. And then my friends, they heard this whole exchange, of course, and they just said to themselves, like, he's going down swinging. Like, it's just so bad. Like, this, oh, I hated her so much, you have no idea. That
this
was
is
like,
not the teacher which you liked, right? The one that you always fought with?
yeah,
The
no.
other one?
No, I had another teacher who was also a very postmodernist, but we could have debates and talks. We actually liked each other. This was one of them. This was the one the worst professor I ever had.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
and the first dealings I had with postmodernism.
and she can't even address the merit of the question, right?
No.
Instead of why they're the best, she's asking for a source. Like, she's like a Redditor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was the first time I met a Redditor. True.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. What they do is that they go into these. I don't know. It's like, if reality isn't real, reality can be whatever I want it to be. It's that, and I hate it so much, that way of looking at life. Because we get nowhere. It's not functional.
It's also not, you'd think that the people who believe that reality can be whatever they want it to be would have good lives, but they don't. So what's happening? Do they not want to have good lives?
Exactly, like you said something really, like, it's so strange. Like, they say that, as you said, and they don't have good lives. Like, what everyone, all the sources and everything is saying is that Christian or religious, let's say it's religious people, have much more meaning and happiness in their life.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you can have whatever life you want in your head, and the life in your head is all like the true, like, there is no difference between the life outside of your head and the life inside of your head, then why isn't people who believe this living in paradise all the time?
That's
like, why are the postmodernists, like, why are they so miserable? Like,
I mean,
it makes zero sense from their own fucking perspective. Like,
no,
they don't have an explanation for it. If they believe that, I mean, I guess postmodernists don't believe anything.
I mean, they do, but they think this is the next step of their evolution, right? And it's that it's language that defines reality. And that's what I at least got taught in university. Because they think, I think I explained this to you before, but TLDR, reality, modernists and postmodernists, they look at this window and they both try to figure out what reality is. And postmodernists, they just blankly say the window is language. And what we see when we how did my teacher it's something to the tune of I fucked up the whole explanation. It's a modernist and a postmodernist. You can imagine them as
Walking to a
looking
bar.
exactly right, but they're looking at a window, a dim window, and behind it there's something. And a modernist, and don't remember what you said the modernist does, but what the postmodernist does, and this is what I remember. When they look through this window and say something dim, they say, no. How I use my language right now to explain what's behind the window, that is reality. Furthermore, the language I'm using is the window that we are looking through to see reality. So it's language itself is reality to them. And it's really fucking retarded. I agree.
I think it's Kant's fault, to be honest.
Who?
Immanuel Kant.
I thought it said cunt. And I was like, yeah, technically someone gave birth to them, right?
Yes, I mean, the thing is that in my language it's called Kant, but I think it's Kant in English, I'm not sure. Anyway, he was the one who came up with the idea that the reason that rationality can work to predict the outside world is not because the outside world is rational, but because our minds are constantly making the world into a form which is rational.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the part of the postmodernist notion, let's say. Not that Kant was postmodernist, by the way. He's like a precursor to them. But because he came up with the idea that the world is being conformed to our minds, what he's doing is essentially giving birth to the idea that we are the ones making reality as, not exactly as we wish, but as our minds wish, I suppose.
Can you repeat the last two sentences you said?
Sure. Kant came up with the idea that reality conforms to our minds rather than the opposite. So it isn't our minds which are conforming to reality, it's reality which is conforming to our minds. And that's a precursor to the notion of the postmoderns, which think that the world is language and we can essentially decide what reality is by how we use our language. And because in this case, language is serving the same role as the mind is serving for Kant.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And right now I agree until I can, think about it further. But
yeah, I mean, that's very superficial knowledge of my part. I haven't read Kant. I've just read some people talking about him.
No. The thing though that I always found so perplexing to me, and that is because I never understood, like, if you're an atheist, how can you believe in objective morality? I've never understood that ever since I was a kid. I've never understood that, because then, I mean, morality is something you cannot prove exists.
So one way I suppose that could be explained is if people think that there is always like an optimal behavior. So in a certain circumstance, given these certain restrictions, there is an optimal way to move forward. And that's the moral way to move forward. And in theory,
yes. Continue.
You could, yes, in theory, you could think of, hypothetical scenarios in which there is always like the least bad answer, if not a good answer, at least the least bad answer, and that's the moral way. And then you could if you were to like agree on a set of like methods to determine the best behavior, you could call that objective morality.
No, I sort of see the argument. The issue I have,
Yeah.
I don't know what you if you believe in objective morality. Do you?
I have no clue, to be honest. I hope it exists, but I don't know.
I mean, I do believe in it because I'm Christian, so of course But the thing is that I'm never. It's those arguments I do not buy, even though I do believe in objective morality. I just because I do see where they're coming from, right? That I don't know what could it be like. I don't know, like if I see a phone on a bench, right, and there's a woman sitting. It's clearly the woman's phone, right? But the woman is like waiting for the bus, and she hasn't noticed she dropped her phone. And then if I steal the phone, that is not the most, how to say, as you said, optimal solution, because what if she notices it? Then I go to jail. Like, that is very simplistic, I know that, but I see the argument.
I mean, it sounds like a fucking school ethics question.
Yeah, but that's what that's the sort of object. Every time I hear them debate or talk about this, that's what I hear in my head. Like, what is this? Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm smarter than them. I'm not, but I'm just saying that it doesn't make any sense to me. That's more what I'm saying. I'm not saying, haha, look at these retards. I'm saying more, I don't really see where they're. I don't see it. They need to explain it better to me for me to, at least understand more where they're coming from. That's sort of more what I mean.
Atheists have this real big problem with making something very simple into a really large problem for no apparent reason, in my opinion. Like, they're pretty good at it too. So they'll take like this very simple logic and they will run way too far with it. And then when you realize where they landed and you go, hey, you're a bit too far here, then they will cry about it and say that you just couldn't follow the logic. And it's kind of frustrating because I have the type of intelligence which is more in line with most atheists, which is like analytical and logical as opposed to verbal and emotional. And so to me, it's very easy to follow the logic. But what the issue isn't the logic itself, it's like, how do I put it? It isn't about how well you play the game, it's about what game you choose to play. And the games that they're choosing to play with their logic are just mental masturbation in the end. They're not productive. And they're meant to like win debates and look intelligent, but that's not actually solving any issues. It's just, for their own egos. And that's part of why, 12-year-old me liked atheists so much, and why nowadays I can't stand them.
Yeah, and because it's fun because I just when I started talking, I realized what you said. That you're literally calling all atheists 12-year-olds, and that's funny to me because
they're morally 12-year-olds.
Yes,
they're like morally retarded.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the thing is that because every time you say because someone, this is what I mean when coming up with counters, right? Give me a second, I need to close something. Oh yeah, here I am. Okay, so when they say to me, you have to come up with a counter, like build a counter argument in order to understand your argument better, essentially, right? So this is where I'm at, right? So I'm saying, okay, the reason I act as I see it moral, or whatever you want to say, is because I want to go to heaven. That's one of the reasons. And I don't want to go to hell. And then an atheist might say, I'm not saying all atheists, I'm just saying that a atheist might say to me, Oh, it's very strange that the only reason you're acting moral is because you fear hell. That's weird. Wouldn't you be a good person otherwise? And then my counter to that would be, well, why do we have laws then? I mean, we have laws for a reason, right? I mean, there's a
Mhm.
reason why I don't just go and steal stuff because I don't want to go to jail.
Mhm.
Like, and then when you really look into it, and this is really going full tinfoil hat. And then I'm just thinking, is that why there's so many people who don't want to persecute criminals in a way, you know? You know,
Why?
because it's like, I don't know, like they don't want to persecute criminals at all, like send them to jail and stuff. And I know you mentioned this about Brazil last time we talked. What I'm getting at is that they're so immoral that they think they're so moral, but they're really immoral in a weird circular way, right? They just it just goes circle upon circle because they don't really believe in punishment. And is that better?
Mm.
I don't really have the line. It was, as I said, a tinfoil hat, so I can't prove, and I probably shouldn't have said, but there you go. The thing is, like, my point here being is that the counter of, you know, oh, so you think that the only reason you act moral is because you're scared of going to hell. It's always been a silly one to me because, or not always, but when I was thinking about it recently, because, I mean, everyone fears, consequences. That's a good thing. So I don't, see how that's bad, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't even know if it's like. I'm not sure if most people don't do evil because they fear going to hell. I mean, they do fear going to hell,
Hmm.
and they don't do evil, but there is no necessity that one explains the other necessarily because, I mean, you know, the reasons to do good or evil are not necessarily like they don't even need to be good or evil. Like, for example, I'm in the gym, and one of the things that you do in the gym is after you're done with a machine, you wipe it, right? You
Yes.
wipe it with alcohol. Some people don't, some people do. I do, and the reason I do, and that will tell you a lot about me. The reason I do it isn't because I feel like I'm a better person than other people. It's because I get annoyed when other people don't. And I won't have the right to be annoyed at other people not doing it if I don't do it as well, because then I'd be a hypocrite. So I just do it because I want to be able to get annoyed at other people who don't.
Haha.
So, yes, so that's why I do it. And it's not like I do it because I don't want to go to hell or because I want to go to heaven. And hey, turns out that's one more person who fucking wipes out the machine than would have otherwise. And I don't think that you need like a very what's the word? You don't need like a very noble motivation to do good. Like as long as you're doing good, you're already doing good. That's the only thing you need to do. And the motivation, like, I don't think that atheists understand what they're doing at all. Like, they can't explain their emotions at all, or their motivations, or their like what's their orientation in the world. Like, they don't have a religion to explain it. So inevitably, they tend to get caught in these arguments, such as, well, I am a better person because I do good, without thinking that I'm going to be rewarded for it. When I don't think that that makes you a better person, and more likely than not, because you know that you won't be rewarded for doing good, you're actually going to be a worse person than you would if you thought that you would be rewarded for doing good, even if other people didn't know that you were doing good.
No,
So
it's the whole. I mean,
it's you can't put yourself in a position where you're morally superior for doing good without being rewarded, um, because it's like, when an atheist tries to say that these Mother Teresa is not a good person because she only helped other poor people because she wanted to go to heaven or something like that. It's so stupid. It's crazy stupid to me.
Yeah, no, but
It's like,
that's sort of the avenue I'm
oh,
going with, right?
if you do good and you're rewarded for it, then the good that you did is not for the sake of the good; it's for the sake of the reward. It's like, I think they're too capitalistic. That's the only way to put it.
No, I mean, I see what you mean, like what their argument is. The thing is, like, I'm not saying that the main reason you should do something is because you want a reward, like, or how to say that you should only do good because you want to go to heaven. Like, of course not. There's more to it. But I mean, one of the main reasons I do good is because of that. Sure, I'm not gonna deny that. But I also see your point because I also live by that sort of by that rule too. That I mean, if you see something like, for example, like cigarette butts on the street, right? Like, I mean, I pick mine up, but so I can get angry at people not doing it, right? So
Yes.
I see the point, and so I see exactly what you mean. What is interesting to me, though, well, I mean, not interesting, but all of this can be summarized by that, and they're still like this. They haven't changed since then. You know, right now, I'm not enlightened by any god or make believe, whatever it is.
Yes.
Oh, I'm only
But
enlightened by my own intelligence.
yes.
Like,
And they're not going to change because they're living the same mythology, and it's a dead mythology. It can't grow. Like, it's a parasite. It's a parasite on religion. So of course it's not going to change. They're going to keep being 12-year-olds until they die, and then I mean it's weird because the atheists aren't growing. And like,
no, they're not.
The ones who are growing are like the non-associate religions, like people who are spiritual but not religious, like the fucking crystals people.
The witches, yes.
I mean, yes, them too, but like a lot
But
of
to be fair,
people
they believe in something. They believe in Satan, so
uh, why is it fair to say that?
What did he say?
Why is it fair to say that? You said to be fair.
Oh yeah. No, but it is fair, don't they? Or saying that there's some witches who don't believe in Satan.
I don't know. I actually don't know much about witches.
No, that's what I know about them. That they believe in Satan and shit. That's like all I know about them, and that it's more like what is it like? Very when you can only go so. I think it's like you can only. It's almost like they saw like super radical feminists. Like, I mean the super radical ones. The ones killing and raping men, sort of feminists. They see them and they go, you know what? These people aren't going far enough. I'm gonna go against the guy that hates God the most. Like that. So I mean, at least they live their values, I guess, or something like this.
Yes. I mean, yeah. Reminds me of the wife of Baal.
Oh yeah.
That Baal is like one of the names for Satan in the Bible. He's like it's probably the oldest name of Satan in the Bible.
Is Baal, and there's also
Baal,
some
Baal.
Yeah,
and his wife is his sister, and then his father like casts him out, and then his sister goes and kills his father, I think, or castrates his father, I don't remember, and then marries Baal. So yeah.
But here's the thing: there's also some theories that Baal was a name for God too.
The thing is that Baal is actually a title, and
oh yes, that's true. I forgot that.
Yeah, and then so there is like because for example, one of the titles of Baal is "He who rides on a cloud."
Oh yes,
but that's also used for Jesus. So that's how you differentiate it. It's like many of the titles of the old gods tend to be sort of derivative from Jesus or from God. So, for example, storm god, etc., which tend to be associated with a specific god. After those gods are like defeated, they become part of the titles of the God of Israel. So that's how those names sort of get mixed and refer now to God.
Yeah, no, I do know that because I saw this video about it 2 days ago, and when I did research for my own writing, it's it's very, it gets messy down there in Israel during that time period. So I get
Yes.
that. I wanted to actually, no, actually, I wanted to ask you about Richard Dawkins before I talk about the last thing I brought up, because I think the last thing is you're gonna find interesting. But about Richard Dawkins, right? The thing is, I have no problem with him. Like, I just he can he can be sort of annoying sometimes, but when I hear him talk, it's like, is he like autistic? Just a little, just a little,
Yeah.
and that's why
I mean,
he's
he's
like that.
very old now. He's like in his 80s. So
Oh yeah, true. But I did like him on Piers Morgan and when it was on Lex Friedman, and then when it was on Joe Rogan too. I did like those episodes. It was interesting to hear him talk.
he's also British. So there's that.
Oh yeah, no, I hate him now. I fucking hate him now. Thank you for reminding. No, I actually do hate him.
What do you want to ask about it, though?
No, you said like that you disliked him, and not disliked him maybe, but you said, oh, he's not a good something.
I don't remember what I said exactly, but what I probably meant is, yeah, I said he's stuck in the Illuminism, right?
Yes, that's what you
He's
said.
like this. He's like Steven Pinker and all these people who believe the science is like the height of human intelligence, and they're limiting themselves because they are only able to see reality through a small scope, which is the scope of their own science. And so whatever Richard Dawkins he looks in biology, but biology is only a fraction of human knowledge, and so he's privating himself from he's depriving himself from a lot of possible perspectives which are only accomplishable if you were to look from other perspectives. So in the end, he sees things in a very black and white way because there's only so much that you can do in a science, and in a lot of science is already settled, let's say. So whenever he hears something that doesn't jive with what he knows about the science, he's very dismissive of it, even though it's incredibly useful information which he should be very eager to learn. And so that's what I don't like about him. There's a conversation with him with Jordan Peterson, which is pretty interesting.
I heard it, yeah.
And there's a commentary on that conversation by John Vervaeke. And John Vervaeke trashes Richard Dawkins for being dismissive of what Dr. Peterson is saying.
Oh yeah, about the tree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not, like, he isn't even willing to go far into his own meme idea. Like, he wasn't willing to consider the possibilities of archetypes of the collective unconscious as a meme. And like, there is so much that he could do if he was willing to challenge his own notions about what he knows about biology, but he is not. And to a certain extent, that's understandable because he's in his fucking 80s and he's gonna die one day, and he wants his legacy to be about what he believed for most of his career and not for, what he changed his mind on when he was in his 80s. because people still say about Einstein, changing his mind when he was dying, and Darwin saying, "Oh, God is real" when he was dying, and Richard Dawkins has said in the past that he didn't want to be like those, especially about Darwin. So, yeah.
No, I see your point, but that he is so locked in, and that's a problem I have, or a fear I have with the ultimate atheist at the end of the line, because then it almost becomes dangerous in a way. Because imagine this, just let's humor this for a second, like that in like some, let's do Germany. In Germany, in Schwarzwald, which is their black forest, it's what's called in English. And it's this huge fuck off forest in the, I don't know exactly where it is in German. I think it's the south. But anyway, and they start saying, "Oh no, hikers, they're missing in this area, and people are reporting big humanoid wolf creatures are eating them. What should we do?" And then like it's a ridiculous fucking example. I know that, but the point here is that then all the scientists will be like, "Huh, that can't happen. So we shouldn't look into it."
Or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably a bear or something.
And then, like,
they just put some bear traps.
Yeah, and then it's like they start looking into it. Like, all of these attacks happen around the full moon. We should look into this. And then it's like, huh, it was probably, and like it becomes ridiculous at some point.
Look, I found a book from 2,000 years ago saying the same thing was happening, and it's gonna happen again and again. What should we do?
Yeah, because now the problem is, right, that there are some real like dangers, right? Because we talked a little about it last time, that our civilization is that it's older and older. It's older than we thought it was. Like for the Epic of Gilgamesh that we talked very briefly about last time, says that
yes,
was talking about the ancient times, even though the Epic of Gilgamesh is like the most ancient civilization, or from the most ancient civilization that we know of. And that, for them, to bring back to Göbekli Tepe, for them, like Göbekli Tepe would have been ancient.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my point here is that if these people knew of some sort of cyclical event that happened, and they're like, "Oh my god, don't go," I don't know, let's do Germany again. "Don't go to Germany," like the meme. Too many memes. I'm just thinking about that stupid Peter Griffin meme. You know the one, "Don't go to X place at X time, worst mistake of my life." Like, I'm just thinking of that shit. Yeah, but anyway, it could be like, let's say it's a cyclical event that each 10 or 12,000 years, fucking Germany just goes boom. Let's say that again. It just goes boom. Right? Like the area around Germany just goes boom. And then they find these warnings, but then atheists will be like, "Huh, this makes no sense. Everyone should live exactly where they are." And it's like, it's danger at some point, like, because it's like you confine yourself to this box and you can't think outside of it.
Yes, and I mean, the example you gave is a funny one, and it's obviously not very...
Yes, I know it's ridiculous. Of course it's very ridiculous, but
it is the case that you can only go so far with what you already know.
Yes.
And if you think you already know everything, you're bound to hit your face in the wall. Like, there is no other way about it, because there is no way. Like compare the size of the world with the size of your little fucking head. How do you think that one matches up to the other? Of course it doesn't. So, of course, and so you can't. And part of it is, realizing that you can't, and doing your best to be open to the possibility that you can learn more. And maybe that will be the difference. That will make the difference when it, matters the most.
No, I agree completely. I did want to leave off on this because you're gonna find this hilarious. Because when I was doing the what is it? When I was doing the the editing with ChatGPT for the video, I was sort of not bored, but I was just interested. The capabilities like you always do. And I said to it, "Give me 5 reasons why Nora from Fallout 4 is the best female main character ever created in a game." And then, it gave me 5 reasons. I would say that the only one I will admit is the problem is that I can switch them for the male character, and it's like the same. It's just the same character. The only thing I will give it that it was very interesting is that it points out that Nora's goals and wishes goes beyond her being a mother, and there's a part of a transformation going on in the game which is absolutely pinpoints, because you haven't played Fallout 4, right?
I've played only like the first 10 minutes, and then I didn't anymore.
Yeah, that's sad. But anyway, the point is that if you play as Nora, you play as the mother, right? So you start out as a mother looking for her child, but then when you find out that there is no child to save because he's already grown up, like the game changes tone in a weird way. So what I'm gonna say is that it's interesting that it actually accurately just took it like that. I'm not saying that it was original. It could have read an essay online as part of its data, but the the second part, which I actually wanted to think about, was that I just said, I just said, like, based in response to that when it gave me that, and it gave it this. It just gave it this almost this based on what response to me. Like it's funny. I just thought it was so funny. But it just said apologies, but I'm not able to generate that story for you. And then I said, haha, I just used based, in a slang way. Based equals good. And then it said, aha, I see. My apologies for the misunderstanding. In that context, based refers to something or someone being authentic, unapologetic, or having strong convictions. So let's reframe your requests. 5 reasons why Nora from Fallout 4 is a based female MC.
Did they change the answers, or did they just reframe the answers?
It sounds like a Twitter lefty schizo post. When it started responding to it. No, okay, that was a little mean. That was a little too mean. It's not really. It just it makes them more flabbergasted, more flamboyant answers. Like it says, fearless and independent, versatile skill set, complex character background.
Based does that to the ChatGPT, so they make based be like soy.
I don't know. Okay, maybe I over-exaggerated a little there, but what I meant is that, I didn't over-exaggerate. It's just, how do I say it? When I said based, I didn't ask it to rewrite it in a based way. It just started talking like, I don't know. I think it took my definition of based that it's like really lacking, and then just rewrote it. But it sounds. It just sounds like a Reddit post when it wrote it now. Because it says because it says these things that I can just switch it to the male guy, like the male protagonist, and it's the same. Like, there's no difference really. As I said, the only thing that it pinpointed that I do agree with makes her unique. Or as unique as
for the male character, does the male character, when he finds out his son has already grown up, is it not the same?
It would depend if you think fathers and mothers play different roles in a household, and if you think that mothers and fathers have different attributes to them on average generally. Then, if you don't think so, then no. But if you think so, then yes. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because the thing about mothers that we generally, on average, think is that they are, how do I say, nurturing and kind. Or I'm not saying that dads can't be kind, but they're more nurturing. The nurturing part is what I would focus on, because then you do sort of see that with Nora's character, that she's always nurturing throughout the game. But I haven't played it as a male, so I don't know if it's the same for the guy. So if it's the same for the guy, then okay, sure. Then, you know, I guess ChatGPT lost this debate or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I really need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was about to call it quits anyway. It had a nice ending there. But
Yes.
anyway, take care. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, see you, Gregor. Till
See
next
ya.
time.